Welcome to Honey's Kitchen. We're making chicken pot pie. I've got some water heating up on the stove and I've got some chicken thighs. We're going to put the chicken thighs in here. I like to use thickened chicken thighs a lot. I think we've talked about this in some of my other recipes just because I like to boil my own chicken so I can use that juice, like the stock, the chicken broth, in my recipes. So this one, I'm going to use the broth to cook my veggies that I'm going to put in and to make my filling. So there's lots of uses for this broth that I've got going right here. I'm going to go wash my hands and then I'm going to season my water up. Okay, no one wants salmonella, so definitely wash your hands. This is onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, and salt. Season your water up because, like, no one wants salmonella. No one wants to eat bland chicken. Looks like the chicken's done. I'm going to turn the fire from underneath it off just to try to help keep myself from burning myself. I'm going to put these out on my little cookie sheet here. We'll let them cool off before I start getting the meat off the bone. If you were to use some other kind of chicken where you really wouldn't have some good broth, or get a rotisserie chicken, something like that, then you would just have to add your own broth to make the filling. I'm going to add some mixed vegetables. This has carrots, green beans, corn, and peas. And I'm going to cook it in our broth. This is a 2-pound bag. You, of course, could make a smaller batch of this, but you know, I told you guys that I sometimes feel like I am cooking for the Salvation Army, some kind of shelter, but I never know when anyone's going to stop by, and I always like to have some extras just in case. My husband and I, we've got 6 children between the two of us. We've got he has 2 children from a previous marriage. I have 1. We have 2 together. And then our caboose is 7 and she's adopted. So we always kind of kid around and we say, we've got yours, mine, ours, and theirs. So we also have 4 grandchildren, 1 grandchild on the way who is due in February. So I'm so excited. Cannot wait for him to get here. So Honey's getting a new baby bee. I'm going to turn the fire back on underneath this, and we're going to put the lid on and let it boil so our veggies cook. Now we're going to pick the chicken off the bone, and I want you guys to look at this. I've just taken the skin off the top. I don't know if you can see very good. I'm dripping juice everywhere. You can see the spices that were on here, so no bland chicken. I want to tell you guys that y'all are going to have to share my stuff so I can become TikTok famous or go viral or whatever you guys say about that. Because I'm new to TikTok, but I've been watching some of those videos, and like that vacuum mop, oh my gosh, you should see my TikTok cart for the shop. I've got one of those vacuum mops on there because I watched and I was in awe. And very impressed with the little girl who was doing it. She had made this whole mess, like staged this whole mess. She cracked, I'm sure you guys have seen it, but she cracked a raw egg. She did like some ketchup, some mustard, some coffee grounds. She just did all kind of stuff and then ran right over it and it cleaned it up. And I was impressed. I was like, wow. Okay. And then my daughter-in-law said, hey, you got to watch out because sometimes, those people get paid to do those reviews. And I thought, oh my, so you can get paid to do it? Yes, sign me up because I wouldn't have to stage a mess, y'all. I could just move the chair back from where my daughter sits and eats dinner, and we would already have a mess right there. We could clean it up, and then maybe that would keep me from being so irritated when I do have to clean it up. So I want that. And then what else is in there? Oh, the steam cleaner. The steam cleaner. I also want the steam cleaner. I've already been checking off and making a list in my head of the things that when I get it, that I'm going to clean in my house with it. I'm so excited for a gift I have not even bought myself yet because I can't afford it. And then the last thing is those lashes, those magnetic lashes. Okay. I do not pamper myself. I don't really get my nails done. I don't do my lashes. I don't do any of that. I have done my lashes. I went and professionally had them done for my son's wedding. And I had never been before, so I did not know what to expect. I hadn't even been with someone who had gotten them done. So I go in there. She tells me to lay down on this little counter thing, little bed. I lay down on that. Then she puts this plastic or paper, I don't even know what it is, something over my eye. Well, it causes my eye to do some kind of weird twitching. Can't even explain it. I was not in control of it. It was just kind of doing its own thing. She kept tapping me, telling me, just be normal, just be normal. I had no control over it. It took forever to do my eyes. And then when we were finished, I was just like crying, just constantly. I could not see. I was like, oh my God, I'm blind. It was awful, awful experience. So her next appointment comes in and she has to move me. I'm still sitting there because I cannot see yet. So she moves me to a chair, gives me two little fans to hold on my eyes. And still, like by this time, I'm thinking I'm gonna be dehydrated because I have done nothing but cry for an hour. It was an hour after she was finished doing my eyes that I was, I don't know, can't explain it. It was freaking me out. I was about to have a panic attack. And I thought, I am not calling my husband to come get me. I am not going to do that. I guess I'll have to call an Uber or a Lyft or something. So finally, after about an hour and holding those stupid things near my eyes, it was fine. And I was able to drive home finally. And the whole time on the way home, I was like, I'll never do this again. Never, ever do this again. So then they start coming off. Now they lasted for a while. I'll give them that. They did. But then they started coming off. And then it was like in clumps. So then I looked like I was getting some kind of eye disease. It just not a good experience. But on TikTok Shop, I see they have the magnetic ones. And I was impressed. And then I see an ad with a guy. I'm like, if a guy can do it, surely I can do it. So that's another item that's in my TikTok Shop cart. So I'm gonna need y'all to share my videos and love them and like them and repost them, follow me, whatever we got to do, so I can start getting those things. I'm excited. My vegetables are ready. So I've got the heat turned off. I'm gonna dip these out, and I have just like a slotted spoon. And the reason why I want to do this instead of like straining it is because I don't want to lose any of my juice because I want to use that broth. But I've got all of my chicken diced up and put in there. So I'm just gonna add these veggies, scoop these out, and put them on top. Cooking your veggies in this broth is going to help to season also. So like we used it, we put seasoning in it for our chicken, so our chicken is flavorful. The same with your veggies. If you just boil them and just in water, they're going to be bland. But this is going to soak up all that good, tasty juice and the spices that we put in there. It's oh so good. I'm going to start my roux. So I've got a stick of butter that I'm going to put in a pan to melt. It's not going to cook unless I turn the fire on. And I have got a diced onion that once this is melts down just a little bit, we're going to soften the onion in it. Add in our onion. My onion's almost translucent, so that's what I was going for. I'm going to add a little bit of flour to make a roux, almost like a gravy. We'll see. We'll stir this in and see what it looks like. That looks good. So we're just going to brown this up, kind of cook the flour. And then I've still got my stock over here, or my chicken broth. So I'm going to pour some of that in to thin it down. Just a second. I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of my spices. So I'm going to get a little bit of onion powder. Just a little, since we have onion. A little garlic powder. Some crushed rosemary. And I like to do a good bit, like a palmful or more. We'll see what it looks like when I start to stir it up. And then some ground thyme. I really like this herby, savory taste. And some people like their chicken pot pie with like a pie crust on the top. I do, like I'll eat it like that, but I am, from the South and I love cornbread. So I like to make mine with a cornbread topping. And it warms up so good also because we like leftovers in our house. Dipping in to get some of our juice, and I'm sure I'm going to make like a gigantic mess. So just do it like you would make a regular gravy, just adding a little bit of liquid at a time and whisking it in. We don't want it to be super, super thin, but we also don't want it to be thick. So it's kind of just like a Goldilocks just right thing. So we're going to do another scoop of our good broth. This meal is so good. It's so hearty. It's good if you don't feel good. Sometimes I'll do this if somebody in our family is sick instead of like a chicken noodle soup or something. Don't get me wrong, I like chicken noodle soup, but this is very savory and it's got the chicken broth and I don't know, it's just so good. It feels homey. All right, I'm going to add some salt and pepper. And then on the salt, I usually add a good bit of salt, and it's because my cornbread is just a little bit sweet too, and then the onion is sweet. So if I don't add a lot of salt in there, I feel like that it can sometimes be a little on the sweeter side. But I want it to have a hint of sweetness, but I want it to have the savory mostly. This looks just about the right consistency. So I'm going to turn the heat off of it and just kind of let it set for a second. And then we're going to go over to the bar and I'm going to show you what I've got mixed up already. We're going to mix up our corn bread mix now. So I've got 1.5 cups of yellow cornmeal, 1 cup of flour, and just a little bit of sugar. Not too much, but just a little bit of sugar. And so to that, I'm going to add 1 cup of milk, 2 eggs, and then 1/4 of a cup of oil. And you guys know I don't use seed oil, so I'm using some avocado oil instead. I'm also going to add some crushed rosemary and some ground thyme. I like to use crushed rosemary because it's a little bit smaller bits, but you still get all that flavor. So maybe a couple of teaspoons of each. This is just to help season up our cornbread mixture too. And give this a little stir. Yeah, I'm going to add just a little bit more water to this. So over here, I've got our mixture of chicken that's chopped up, kind of diced up, and then our veggies. And then our cornbread mixture that we mixed up earlier with our herbs. I'm just going to directly pour this in here. Get our little pan. See, I have this huge pan. I don't even know what size this is. It is, I don't know, Jethro Bodine size that Honey's kitchen needs to feed all the strays that she might have. So I'm just going to give this a stir. You'll see how my husband's going to be excited because it's juicy. And then if you see, our consistency of our cornbread is still pretty pourable. So we got our pan sprayed. Don't want to forget that. I've got my oven preheating to 425, and you're just going to have to kind of watch. Just keep an eye on it. I would say at least 30 minutes. It might take longer than that. But once your cornbread is done, since everything else is already cooked, once your cornbread is done, then it's done. All right, now we're just going to pour our cornbread mix over. You might want to put something on the bottom rack of your oven just in case. I have done this before. The first few times I've made this, I've been making this recipe for years. But the first few times that I did it, some of my juice did kind of splash in my oven. That's where you would need the steam cleaner. I'm telling y'all. But you might seriously might want to put some foil on your bottom oven rack just in case it bubbles over. You won't have a huge mess. Unless you are trying to do what I'm doing and get your husband to buy you one. Y'all don't tell him. All right, so oven's at 425. I'm going to put this in there and then set it on like 30 minutes and then take a look at 30 minutes and see what my cornbread looks like. So just bake until your cornbread's done. Y'all, my house smells so good right now. So this is the finished product. It took about 40 minutes. You might not have to cook yours as long as if you don't make this huge pan that I made, but mine took about 40 minutes, and you just want to cook it until the cornbread's brown on top. Go ahead and plate some up. And it's juicy, so I'm gonna get some brownie points with my hubby. I have to let this cool a little bit. It is still so hot, y'all. Can you see the steam coming out? I'm probably still gonna burn my mouth. So good. If you haven't tried it with the cornbread, try it. See if you like it. It's my favorite way now. So, who's coming over to taste and clean my kitchen?